The beginnings of a cryptocurrency clampdown, a report proposing an international regulatory framework for this controversial coin, was made public at the G20 summit in India. The former chief economist for the U.S. Senate Banking Committee weighs in. Thomas Hogan, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks. I'm glad to be on.
The G20 released a report that proposes international regulations on cryptocurrencies. What does this report say?
That's right. This is a report that was prepared by the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, and the Financial Stability Board, the FSB. And these are international organizations that work manage monetary issues among countries. And it recommends extensive regulations be imposed in regard to cryptocurrencies by all the countries of the G20, and that the IMF and the FSB should be the ones that manage this international regulatory system.
Now, Thomas, you've been critical of the way the report frames the risks of cryptocurrencies to governments. Explain your stance.
Yeah, that's right. This report characterizes a number of risks that cryptocurrencies could pose to the financial system. But if you read the way these risks are described, they're really things like people being able to evade restrictions by the government. So, for example, people might use cryptocurrencies if their government has a terrible monetary policy, but that's good for the individual, even if it's bad for the government.
Got it. And how is that good for the people? Can you kind of unpack that a little more?
In a number of countries, they do not have good systems for managing the money supply. Their central banks tend to create a lot of inflation. You can see some places like Argentina that have massive inflation that's terrible for the economy and terrible for individuals. And in Argentina, people are getting around this by using cryptocurrencies rather than using the local Argentine peso. But the IMF wants them to restrict that. That would be something that would be good for the government because it would force people to use the Argentine peso, but it would be bad for individuals who just want to be able to have some stable currency. And so the IMF report is going to have regulations that are going to be good for the government, but bad for the citizens.